Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Bowden, and with me is Adrian Montalvo. And on this presentation, we will talk about our psychological study on the Mozart effect and its impact on memory. The Mozart effect theory was first introduced by Roscher, Shaw, and Kai in 1993. They believed that listening to a Mozart sonata while doing spatial tasks will help people do them better and faster. They put this theory to a test and made up 3 conditions. Within those 3 conditions, they included a control condition where participants were in complete silence. In one of the experimental conditions, participants listened to a relaxing tape. In the other experimental condition, participants listened to a Mozart sonata. Results showed that in a Mozart sonata, participants scored higher than the other 2 groups by 8 and 9 IQ points. This is a significant difference. I have been intrigued on this theory for a very long time, especially when we have started out college and we observed how the majority of students listen to different types of music when they study. That's why we have decided to create a psychological experiment where we looked at the impact of background music on memory. We hypothesized that participants who listen to a Mozart sonata while reading will have a better score on the questionnaire than participants who read in a complete silence and those who read while listening to pop music.
For the design of the study, we came up with an independent group's post-test only design. Due to factors outside of everyone's control in the past few weeks, only 12 participants were able to participate. They were randomly assigned to one of the 3 conditions. First, participants were instructed to meet at the psychology lab, which is in Riggleman Hall, room 211, at the respective times they signed up for. As they arrived to the lab, they were given a folder and a pen and were told to wait and follow instructions given by the experimenter. When everyone was ready, they were instructed to open the folder and read and sign the consent forms. Then they were required to read and memorize as much as possible a 3-page biography of the famous psychologist Albert Bandura. They had a time limit of 10 minutes. They were allowed to read it as many times as possible, but they couldn't take any notes. If participants were in the control condition, they read in complete silence. In the other 2 conditions, they either read while listening to a Mozart sonata or to a playlist with 2000s pop music. When the time was up, participants had to answer a 2-part questionnaire. Part 1 had 10 multiple choice questions about the biography. An example of the questions was, where was Albert Bandura born? Part 2 of the questionnaire had 6 Likert types questions on a 7-point scale, where 1 indicated they strongly disagreed to the statement above and 7 that they strongly agreed to it. An example of these questions was, the background sound did not let me concentrate. A one-way analysis of variance was used to compare the means between each of the 3 conditions. The descriptive statistics, like you can see on the table, indicated that the no music condition had a higher average on part 1 of the questionnaire with a mean of 7.0 and a standard deviation of 0.89. The mean for the Mozart condition was 6.33 with a standard deviation of 1.53, and for the early 2000s pop music condition, the average mean was 5.33 with a standard deviation of 0.58. Despite that the average between groups was different, the NOVA indicated that these differences were not significant since the p-value is bigger than 0.05, as you can see on this slide. These results show that the Mozart effect was not present and that they support previous findings that demonstrate that music does not enhance cognitive performance. However, the results were impacted by the small number of participants, and future research should consider on looking at the effects of music on arousal and mood. Thank you for your attention.